Hey Detoxers, welcome to a special episode of the Disinfo Detox. Today we're talking about something interesting. Is this the end of social media? I know that may seem like a crazy question, but about 10 years ago, I was at a conference. I was on a panel and they asked me about where would social media go from here. I said, I don't know, I think it's going to fragment into a bunch of different platforms and eventually people are going to find it difficult to defend social media use, and I compared it to party phone, which only one person in the audience knew what I was talking about. But that's okay. Today I have someone to talk about this who's a specialist in this area, someone I always depend on to talk about digital marketing, digital communication. Please welcome Matt Bailey, the founder and lead instructor for SiteLogic, to the Disinfo Detox.
Thank you, Nolan. It is always great to talk with you. Look forward to the conversation.
Of course, and you had this post about a month ago on LinkedIn that really caught my eye. It started out saying, "You're not imagining it. People are posting less." And I had, started to see this phenomenon kind of anecdotally, but I had never seen anybody else articulate it quite the way you did. So, can you talk a little bit about what you said in that post about how you noticed people are posting less, and what are some of the reasons you think are behind it?
Absolutely. Well, this started. My social media of choice is LinkedIn. That is where, as a B2B, marketing instructor and selling to that area, LinkedIn has always been my bread and butter. And ever since AI was introduced, it got introduced into the LinkedIn feed. And if anyone's been on LinkedIn, you get, let AI help you with your post. Let AI help you with your response. Let AI write your, it's all over the place on the platform. And within a couple of months, we started seeing massive changes in what we would call the engagement, the amount of people that would comment, the amount of people that would share. That started to just decline over the next 6 months. Then also what we saw was an increase in the amount of AI generated comments. And so that started going. But over time, the LinkedIn engagement has just fallen off. And when I start seeing people that I follow that have 200, 300,000 followers on LinkedIn, over the past 6 months, one by one, they've all started saying, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. That I'm just not getting the reach. It's full of AI comments. It just gets parted out. I'm tired of feeding the LinkedIn AI. I'm tired of this because it's not rewarding anymore. And we're seeing it over and over and over. And what's taking over in the feed is slop. It's just slop, AI generated slop, low quality how to articles, and they're getting like this artificial boost from somewhere. And so, those of us that have been on LinkedIn for 20 years or more, it's just watching this solid decline. But it's not just there. We're seeing it in Instagram. We're seeing where, the promise of Instagram was to see what your friends were doing, was to see what your family. Same with Facebook. All of these social media platforms were to follow people you knew. And now when you go to your feed, what do you see? It's not people you know. It's not the people who want to follow you who are seeing your content. You're seeing someone else's content that's being pushed on you by the algorithm. And what I see, Nolan, is just people are just going through the motions now. There's a burnout.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit because one of the things I was wondering, and I don't have an answer for this, so I really am wondering it. It's one of those questions you ask where you think you know the answer. I'm wondering about, how much of this is changes in the platform versus how changes in the user. Because,
Mhm.
I was someone who, was alive when social media first came out, and I used it just as you described it. It was to connect with friends, share pictures, plan parties, blah blah blah. That is not the way these platforms are being used
Oh
today. Was
no.
that a conscious change by the platforms themselves, or was it a response to the users? Do you have any insight on that?
It's a response to the dollar. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is I'm not going to buy anything if I don't see ads, and I'm not going to stay on the platform if I don't see interesting things. So what started as the promise of connecting with each other, and by the way, your analysis 10 years ago of fragmentation, that's the cycle of social media. is you have one or two rise up and then it fragments. One or two rise up and it fragments. And we are going to hit a period of fragmentation over the next couple of years, because the promise of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn was connecting with people, the people I want to follow. And we got this bait and switch. And the bait and switch is because the platforms are all designed by the same people who design gambling games. The whole point of you being on a platform is to get you to stay longer, because the longer you stay, the more ads you see, the more money they make. That's the cycle. And so every bit of behavioral science is put into keeping you on that platform for 1 minute more than you were yesterday, or 50 seconds more than you were 2 hours ago. That is the whole goal of it. And so they promote things that they know will hook you in and keep you on. And it's all driven by the dollar.
Okay, so now some of these folks, may say, I don't use social media to connect with friends. I use it purely for business or